Hello, welcome to the second installment of my 5-part series on how to study more efficiently. This is episode 2 on organizing. So I have a list of points that I'm going to read out about organizing better. As you start studying, you might be overwhelmed at your workload. A good thing to do is organize your notes and break it down to a level where it's easier to understand. Then go through your notes bit by bit. So essentially what I mean by this is that people get very overwhelmed when they see the workload they have and just the notes they have for a subject like chemistry, physics, whatever you're studying. They become overwhelmed and lose motivation to study and get better, more knowledgeable. This is very easy to combat. Essentially, you just need to break it down into pieces you understand by sub-subjects, subcategories, whatever you need to do. One thing I do is I go onto a Google Doc and I make a list of every single subcategory from, for example, chemistry. Then I highlight each of them with a green, yellow, or red highlight. Red means I don't know anything about it. Yellow means I somewhat have an idea about the subject. Green means I'm pretty comfortable with my knowledge of the subject. As I said in the last video, managing your content is just as important as managing your time. Last video, I was talking about managing your time. Here, I'm talking about managing your content. You need to make sure you have everything you're studying under control. For example, when you have a huge workload, you need to break it down into smaller pieces so it's easy to understand. A great example is this video series. If this video series was all one episode, so a 50-minute one episode thing, then it'd be overwhelming. As stated before, there is in fact a method to, break down a larger topic or unit or whatever that could potentially be overwhelming to whoever's there. But this is a very good method on how to, ease that overwhelmness and just make everything, simpler and more laid out for you. So what I have here is, this is all hypothetical, by the way. This isn't this is just an example, but we have physics and we have a bunch of subcategories for physics. So like Snell's law, electricity, sound, angular momentum, stuff like that. So pretty much we have a list of subcategories for physics, and as you can see, all of these are highlighted a different color. So essentially what that means is, as stated before, we have some categories, green, yellow, red. So green pretty much means you're very familiar with the subject and you pretty much know it like the back of your hand. Yellow means you're familiar but not quite there yet, and red means like your knowledge on that subject or overall knowledge on that subject is very poor and you still need to work on it. So this is a very good strategy because it breaks down everything. And it's just laid out for you visually with visual cues. If you're a visual learner or just a visual memorizer, this would be very handy for you because it's all laid out for you right in front of you, what you know, what you don't know, so you don't have to remember. So for example, like if you think of physics, I have to study for physics for a unit test, that sounds very broad and it could potentially overwhelm you. So doing it like this would say okay, I know Snell's law, I know law of motion, but angular momentum I need to work on. So you go work on that specific subcategory. So pretty much it just simplifies everything for you essentially, which could potentially very useful for you. And yeah. It's one thing to organize your notes to study for a topic, but it's another thing to organize your equipment and work. One way of doing this is establishing a workspace. It can be very confusing when you don't know when or where it's time to work or study or when it's time to play. Me personally, I have a desk with a lamp and all the equipment I need pretty much. I have my school Chromebook, I have my pencil sharpener, I have a lamp for lighting, obviously the sharpener is to sharpen my pencils, and I have a place to write stuff. All this is very useful and it would help me study more efficiently. Why? Because I don't need to get up and move around my house if I need to sharpen my my pencil, or if I needed more lighting. I had it all within arm's reach to save time during my studying. Now that you've established your workspace at home, establish the equipment needed for school. A lot of the time, for course outlines, the teacher or whoever's in charge will provide a list of the things you might need for their course. Either way, it's better to be prepared than to not be prepared and have to suffer later on. Always make sure you have a binder, and personally, I have a binder, and in my binder I have a folder for homework, like a little tab where I put all my homework or maybe forms or stuff from home or tests or whatever, like anything that comes from my school that's going home. And I also have 2 lined paper notebooks for multiple subjects. Technically I don't really need to, since there's a lot of pages in each book, but just to be case, as I said before, it's better to be safe than sorry. It's a pretty cliche saying, but hey, it works. I also have a bunch of lined paper and other stuff like a ruler. I have like 7 pencils in there, like erasers, like anything you could possibly need for school or for just normal classes, it's there. I also have headphones to listen to music at school. Oftentimes I might just bring gum to school. Anything. It's better to be over prepared than under prepared. Like you need to make sure you're prepared for everything. And while you do have all this stuff, you need to organize them. You have to make sure it's not just a big pile in your bag or a big pile in your in your desk or anything. You have to make sure you know where everything is, and it's convenient to get to those areas to get to your equipment in time, the equipment needed. As the second episode in this 5-part series, this episode and the first episode do have a lot in common actually. The first episode is talking about managing your time. This is organizing like pretty much everything except your time. So your notes, your objects, like anything you have physically, you're managing. So the reason these two are together as 2 episodes is that they go hand in hand with each other. So anyways, thank you so much for watching the second installment of this 5-part series on how to study more efficiently. The next few episodes will be coming very frequently, as I have arranged my own schedule, speaking of managing my time and organizing. So hopefully I can get these episodes out as soon as possible. So some of the other episodes consist of just understanding, not memorizing, like review, like anything you can do essentially, like and they're gonna be pretty much talking about how you can reach out to other people for help, like other people with more knowledge than you, maybe upperclassmen and adults you trust, stuff like that. So yes, this was the second installment of the 5-part series, and see you in the next episode.